I'm Andrea Corda, I'm CTO of Anybotics. Today we are here in Zurich, in the headquarters. Actually, I joined a year ago, and my career has been for over 20 years in larger consumer companies. I've been growing different departments, and I was entering meetings, and it was more or less, that kind of feeling. And that was the moment where I started to think maybe it's the time to shift into another type of industry, another type of setup. That is actually by chance I got in connection with Anybotics, and I remember in the conversation with the headhunter, we were talking about these, robots, AI-driven. I said, okay, I need to double check and see what's going on. Then I came here, I got in contact with the team, and I was really highly fascinated, and I thought, okay, that's quite an important change, but it's actually what I'm looking for, and gave me quite a lot of energy. So that was really mind-blowing for me. It starts from purely mechanics, even though mechanics is not so simple here. Still, you have to build the trunk, you need to withstand with a certain strength, you have to comply with quite a lot of standards about anti-explosion, there's IP67, all of this is making even mechanics a little bit more complicated. And then you get into really the electronics, the software and all of this, and of course the battery. The overall battery management is very important to, provide quite a longer cycle for our customers. Then you have important are the legs. So for every leg we have 3 motors. Those are controlled in a very good way really to handle the overall locomotion. There's a lot of computing on board. We do our own computers. We have 2 computers, one for navigation, one for locomotion. Those computers are actually really tailored for our industrial grade requirements. So we are not buying this. Initially you think, when I came on board I said, okay, why you don't buy all of this? In reality there's such a level of tailoring for the type of application that you need to build the stuff on your own. And then ultimately it gets, of course, sensor, cameras, thermal cameras, near field, long field. All of this is very important to build the input signal for the neural networks that then making the decision and then driving, the actions for the actuators, for the legs, and then to drive the locomotion, but also to drive, the payload, to inspect and really drive the overall inspection. That is actually what we are paid for. We are not paid to have a robot that is moving, but we are paid to make inspections that are delivering very important insights to our customer. In some installation of our customers, you could be in an offshore platform in the middle of the sea, so very difficult to get people operating there. And you're also you could be in very challenging environment where maybe there's a pollution of the air, you can even have contaminating gases, so that could be a very difficult environment for an operator to work. The robot can do it 24 hours a day. The beauty there is also that you get to the point where the robot has a much more accuracy in what it does. It's very methodological in the way inspection is made, and this can be collected, and you can frame the data that are then delivered to the customer, that is the real value, in a way that are very accessible for him. Enable safety, you don't need to have operators to work in this environment, and the robot can do it. And this is also part of the next generation of the robots we are building that will be able to work in an explosive environment. You can imagine for operators it's not a very nice situation to be in such an environment. The robot can be there, can be properly equipped, and in a safe environment really to do the inspection instead of the operator. It's prioritization and enablement of my team. As a leader, I've been developing a culture over the years where I started to be more in more predictable industrial environments where probably is more about efficiency and being very organized, while in this environment where there's a lot of ambiguity in the direction of the future, new technologies, all these kind of things, you need to build a very distributed model where fundamentally I leave a bit of space to the people to enter, to contribute, to own what they're doing, and then really to create the right network. It's a little bit of a difficult step because you have to fade away, but you need to retain your own empowerment at the right time, where maybe 5% of the times you still have to get in the older school, the general that is releasing orders to people. Managing priorities, we do have a lot on our plate, and we have to be conscious about what we are doing to deliver in a proper way to fulfill the expectation of our customers. I'm a system guy. I'm not a deep software guy or hardware, but the A CTO fundamentally has to connect all the elements across multiple disciplines that could be very specialistic, and you need to have the ability to understand what is the trajectory of those and how everything will melt together in the product strategy. So system engineering mindset is a good way, I think. It can be also anything, other things, but maybe to be a deep software developer, okay, that probably is going to work only in a purely software company. Then curiosity, you need to be curious. You need to look at the opportunities that the market can offer, and also curiosity not only in technology, but also what is really the customer is looking for. Whatever we do has to fulfill clear needs of the customer. We don't want to have technology for the sake of that. So being curious to understand the problems of the customer is a very important thing, because it helps you a lot. Is a very important North Star to define the direction you want to go. We are not anymore in a startup environment where we were building prototypes. Today we are in a scale-up where we build products and we sell these to customers. So there's already a connection there, and we need to drive reliability in what we do. And this is also about maybe making less but better. And maybe the third element I would put in consideration is that definitely being ready to be also a manager, of course. You need to get into a very important people dimension, especially when you get in this multitude of different technologies. The personalities are very different, and you need to find a way for them to operate properly. And this requires more and more emotional intelligence, psychological skills, where you can really interact, understand what is the language, and how you drive a cohesion. And lastly, I would say, be patient, because being a CTO is not a very quick career path. Maybe in marketing, sales, things can get evolved faster. My experience in R&D, it takes time. You need to really solidify your understanding. You have to become a credible leader, and then when you're a credible leader, you can drive these kind of things. Is a little bit longer the path. It's part of the game. If you love to be a CTO, that's really what you have to be ready to do. The technological environment is evolving, and we could end up maybe even doing other products. Nobody knows here. The capability is actually here, but I think will be a fundamental element that we are well established in some of the verticals, and we start really to go in larger production volumes. So we get into thousands, where we can really start to sustain ourselves. I think this is definitely the direction we're in. Then other things can happen, there's competition, there are other potential solutions. So 10 years in this environment for a scale up is a very long term. When I came here, I said, okay, what do we do in 5 years and 10 years? And the people were looking at me and say, okay, here we know exactly what to do for the next 2-3 years. And that's the ambiguity of the technical environment and the consumer opportunity we deliver that is still on the way.